After we announced my pregnancy, my sister-in-law's plan to humiliate me at my husband's party backfired, landing her in jail in a divorce. For the last 7 years, I, 29F, have been married to Harry. Except for his relationship with his sister Kayla, who brings all the negativity into our lives, I truly enjoy everything about our marriage. Now, don't get me wrong. When I initially met Kayla, I actually liked her. But with time, I rapidly changed my view. She is poisonous, manipulative, and really negative. Knowing the kind of person she is, I worked hard over the years to stay on her good side. My husband once dated Kayla's best friend when he was 17. They eventually broke up because he felt pressured to be with her, mainly because of Kayla. When he turned 23 and was single again, Kayla tried to push another friend of hers onto him. He refused. She ran crying to their parents, complaining about how she wanted him to marry someone she felt comfortable with. Thankfully, their parents didn't take her side during that battle. While Harry and I were getting to know each other and falling in love, his parents were quite supportive. But Kayla? She always treated me coldly. She'd constantly bring up Harry's exes when I was around, reminding him how well they were doing, or suggesting ways he could get in touch with them. Harry noticed too. He asked her repeatedly to stop, but when she got called out, she'd explode and mock me, saying I was jealous and that Harry shouldn't be with someone like me. Worse yet, whenever his parents invited us for dinner, Kayla would conveniently bump into one of Harry's exes and invite them to join. It didn't stop there. Even though she doesn't follow me, she stalks my public Instagram account. She's usually the first to view my stories. If a man commented on one of my photos, she'd immediately run to Harry and complain that I was posting indecent pictures. Harry and I would actually laugh at her nonsense, but it got cruel. When Harry and I decided to move in together, she told him I had too many flaws as a woman, and that she could find someone way better. I had always been friendly to her, so this hurt. And sadly, things only got worse once we got engaged. Everyone applauded Harry and me when we revealed our engagement. But I noticed Kayla was unusually quiet. Then suddenly she jumped up from her chair and stormed out of the gathering. Later that night, she called Harry sobbing and screaming about how hurt she was because she didn't hear the news before everyone else. She claimed she was the closest person to him and deserved to know first. Then she messaged me, nearly borderline threatening, telling me how I should treat her brother because she had always been the only woman in his life. That message sent chills down my spine. I left her on red, which I'm sure offended her even more. But I had no interest in playing along. Every time she saw me, she began to progressively ignore me. But she still involved herself in every wedding-related event. She showed up at my dress shopping, my bridal shower, and kept inserting herself into plans, despite my fiancé and future mother-in-law calling her out several times. Her criticism only got worse. One day, Kayla overheard me talking to my mother-in-law about wedding centerpieces. She instantly mocked me, saying my taste had no class, and that this was why she wanted her brother to marry someone better. That was my breaking point. I lost it. I told her flat out she was no longer invited to our wedding and that I couldn't take her non-stop taunting and insults anymore. She stood there shocked, gasping like she couldn't believe I'd actually stood up to her. Even my mother-in-law backed me up. But Kayla? She called Harry afterwards and whined about how I humiliated her and that he needed to control his wife. Harry stood firm. He told her he supported my decision and she wouldn't be invited unless she made things right. She begrudgingly texted me an apology. I read it and ignored her again. I had no energy for her drama. I was too focused on planning my wedding. In the end, she did show up at the wedding. I didn't want her trashing us behind our backs for not inviting her. Everyone, including the guests, respected our pink and pastel dress code. But Kayla? She came dressed like she was at a funeral. A black floor-length gown with a veil. We were stunned. She went around telling people how she was grieving the loss of her brother to another woman. When Harry confronted her at the reception, she accused me of being too controlling. She played the victim, as always. Eventually, her behavior became so disruptive that my in-laws had to ask her to leave. It was humiliating. Ever since that day, I've avoided her. When I delivered my son Nate, I told everyone I didn't want Kayla anywhere near him. She tried to protest, but my in-laws backed me. They knew why I didn't want her around my baby. 2 years ago, Kayla had a miscarriage with her boyfriend Jamie. It shattered her. It was a heartbreaking time for everyone. Because of that, Harry and I decided to soften a bit. We let her visit Nate. And to our surprise, she was really sweet to our son. At first, it seemed like she'd changed. But slowly, the old Kayla came back. She constantly complained. How her life was hard. How nothing went right. How her friends or coworkers always ruined things for her. She never took accountability. She always played the victim. Always tried to make others take her side. Earlier this year, she got engaged and planned a wedding. She invited everyone, except us. Harry was surprised. When he asked why, she said I wasn't invited because I'd cause a scene. That confused us. I hadn't done anything to her, so I called her and asked what she meant. That's when she admitted she wore black to my wedding on purpose. And now she was scared I'd do the same to hers. I told Harry she was manipulative. He talked with his parents, and they agreed. If we weren't welcome, they wouldn't attend either, or pay for her wedding. Kayla cried and blamed me for everything. Even her fiancé told her to stop pointing fingers. She eventually apologized and begged for forgiveness, saying our in-laws still wouldn't pay unless I forgave her. And you know what? Kayla can be surprisingly convincing when she wants something. I forgave her. I just wanted peace. Her wedding with Jamie went smoothly. We all attended, had a good time. But 6 months later, she showed up at our doorstep. Her marriage was failing. She was furious with Jamie, blamed him for their fertility issues, and stayed with us for a few days, venting nonstop. She also got weirdly obsessed with me. Every morning, I'd hit the gym before work. If I was late, I'd take my clothes with me to shower and change at the gym. Kayla noticed this and started questioning me. Why do you shower there? Why are you always going to the gym? I brushed it off, saying I just like to stay in shape and didn't want to go to the office sweaty. But one day, during lunch, my mother-in-law shared a story about her friend who got divorced and took half her husband's money after he cheated. Suddenly, Kayla cut her off and asked Harry, "Did you and your wife sign a prenup?" Everyone stopped eating. We just stared at her. Kayla looked directly at my husband as if I wasn't even there and asked again, "Did you sign a prenup?" Harry calmly replied that we both made decent money and didn't feel the need for one. She snorted and said, "Wow, you could be blindsided any day. Cheaters are everywhere." I asked her what she meant. She smiled and said, "Well, you're always carrying a change of clothes. And as your sister-in-law, I just thought I should warn my brother." I was stunned. Thankfully, my in-laws walked in just in time. They told her to stop meddling in other people's business and to stop making things up. But Kayla didn't stop. She said she was just trying to look out for her brother. Then she joked, "Are we even sure Nate is really his kid? He doesn't look that much like him." I saw the rage build up in my husband's face. He looked her dead in the eyes and said, "You are not a mother, and maybe that's for the best. No child deserves to grow up with someone like you." Kayla's jaw dropped. My in-laws were silent. Harry got up and stormed off, calling her a shameless woman who only wanted to destroy other people's happiness because her own life was empty. He told her she did nothing all day, her husband worked constantly, and she was just projecting her misery onto me. Kayla started crying. She turned to Jamie for comfort, but he stayed silent. She got up and ran to the bathroom. Harry was still seething. I held his hand. My mother-in-law tried to calm him down. That day we went home and decided, no more Kayla. Her actions were hurting Harry deeply, not just me. We blocked her from everything. My in-laws agreed. They said Harry's explosion showed just how much he'd been holding in. We didn't speak to Kayla for over a year. And honestly, life was peaceful. Then 2 months ago, we found out I was pregnant again. It was unexpected, but wonderful. We waited until Harry's birthday party to tell everyone. My in-laws hosted a lovely backyard celebration. Close friends and family came. And then, Kayla showed up. Harry and I were shocked. She ran to hug Harry, said she missed him, and apologized for their last conversation. My husband said, "You should really apologize to my wife, too." Kayla turned to me, apologized, and said she had been going to therapy. She admitted her behavior was wrong. I didn't fully believe her, but nodded to stay polite. It was Harry's party after all. My in-laws checked in. They offered to kick her out. But Harry said, "No. Let's not make a scene." Kayla seemed cheerful at the party, laughing, socializing, saying she'd been in therapy. It felt suspicious. That wasn't her usual vibe. Harry gave a heartfelt speech about how lucky he felt to have me. When it was time to cut the cake, his words made me blush, just like the early days of our relationship. Afterward, we shared our news. "We're having a baby." Everyone paused, then erupted in cheers. My mom cried. My father-in-law hugged us. Tears streamed down his cheeks. Everyone was genuinely happy for us. Everyone except Kayla. She looked stunned. Her mood changed instantly. She turned away, visibly irritated. I thought, okay, maybe she just needs a moment. Soon after, I was sitting down waiting for Harry to bring me food. Kayla walked over, smiling. She said she wanted to personally serve me lunch because she was so happy for me. She handed me a plate. She even said, "I want to make it up to you for how I treated you in the past." I nodded politely. She walked away. I looked down at the plate and saw shrimp. I'm allergic to shrimp. Surprised, I shook my head and got up to get my own food. Just then, Jamie walked over to congratulate me. He noticed I wasn't eating and asked what was wrong. I told him I couldn't eat shrimp, so he offered to take the plate since he loved shrimp. I smiled and agreed. He took the plate and sat down. 5 minutes later, Jamie started coughing, then gagging, then vomiting, violently. Everyone stopped eating. He stumbled out of his seat. Kayla and Harry ran to him. Jamie pointed at the plate, then at his throat. Panic set in. He collapsed. Everyone gasped. Kayla rushed to check the plate. Her face went pale. She turned to me and asked, "Did you give that plate to my husband?" I nodded. Someone called 911. An ambulance arrived. He was rushed to the hospital. Kayla was sobbing uncontrollably, and she kept glaring at me. Later, we were told, Jamie had been poisoned. When I heard that, I nearly passed out. That plate had been meant for me. It was originally mine. Had I eaten it, I could have poisoned myself and my unborn child. Police were called to investigate. They took the plate for evidence. Jamie is still recovering as I write this. Kayla stayed by his side. Relatives started calling nonstop, asking what happened, who poisoned him, and whether it was intentional. My in-laws were so shaken they came to sleep at our house. Everyone was terrified. The fact that Kayla gave me that plate, and it was that plate, I can't stop thinking about it. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking, why didn't I just throw the dish away? Why did I let Jamie take it? I cried nonstop. My hands were shaking. Harry stayed close, thinking I was just worried about Jamie. But deep down, I knew what his sister had done. Many people in the comments said I should sit down and talk to my family. And they were right. My in-laws have security cameras all over their backyard. If we could check the footage, we'd know the truth. So that evening, I sat down with Harry, my MIL, and FIL over dinner. I took a deep breath and told them everything. How Kayla had given me the plate. How I'd handed it to Jamie. How he collapsed. Their faces froze. Harry went pale, then his expression shifted to rage. My MIL immediately said, "Check the cameras." FIL agreed, already pulling out his phone. They loaded up the footage from their camera app. And there it was, clear as day. Kayla handing me that plate and walking away smiling. No doubts, no room for misunderstanding. Harry's hands balled into fists. My in-laws stared at the screen in disbelief. Their daughter had tried to poison me. It made no sense. Why would she do that? We all sat there in silence. Then my in-laws made a decision. They would hand the footage to the police. Jamie would need to file the charges, but Harry and Phil would speak to him after he recovered. I felt sick with guilt for letting Jamie take that dish. I had no idea how he'd react. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. A few days later, the police had the footage. Kayla was arrested. She confessed immediately. She cried but didn't deny anything. Jamie was stunned. When Harry visited him, he reassured Jamie that he'd always be family to us, no matter what he decided. Jamie pressed charges. He also filed for divorce. Kayla tried to manipulate her parents again. She told them she was pregnant and begged for bail, for the baby's sake. But SIL refused. He told her, "You need to own your actions. We're done coddling you." Even MIL, though heartbroken, agreed she couldn't excuse Kayla anymore. Police confirmed that Kayla had tampered with the food. She was charged with multiple offenses. She said, "This was all your fault." But it wasn't. Later in court, she admitted everything. She confessed she'd always been jealous of me, wanted Harry to marry her best friend, and hated that an outsider married her brother. When we announced the pregnancy at the party, she had planned to announce hers too, but we stole her moment. Fueled by jealousy and pregnancy hormones, she'd added rat poison to the dish. She claimed she just wanted me hospitalized, not truly hurt. But the judge didn't buy it. She was sentenced to prison. Kayla was sentenced. I never attended her hearings, but my in-laws kept me updated. They said she confessed in court, admitting years of jealousy. She always dreamed that one of her best friends would marry her brother, so when he started dating me, she harassed me from day one. She never wanted an outsider in the family. At the birthday party, she had also planned to announce her pregnancy. But when we announced ours first, she felt we stole her moment. She was furious. She claimed she didn't mean to harm the baby. She just wanted me hospitalized. She mixed rat poison into the shrimp. That was her plan. But she never expected me to give the plate to her husband. She told the judge she deserved a reduced sentence because it wasn't intentional. The judge didn't buy it. She's now in prison. She'll be away for a long time. Jamie finalized the divorce. He's free. We still invite him to family gatherings. We try to include him whenever we can. I once sat down with him and apologized, profusely, for giving him that plate. I told him I'd been replaying the moment over and over, wishing I'd done something different. He told me, "It wasn't your fault." I started to cry. It meant the world to hear that from him. As for us, we welcomed a beautiful baby girl. Her presence has brought so much light into our lives, despite everything that's happened. Our son Nate loves being a big brother. He's gentle and protective of his sister. Watching them together reminds us how far we've come. Our parents have been incredibly supportive, guiding us through this new phase of life. I still have lingering anxiety. It's hard to eat food I didn't prepare myself. Sometimes I get flashbacks of that day, of Jamie collapsing. My parents want me to talk to someone, and I think they're right. I'm considering therapy, not just for myself, but for my children. They deserve a healthy, stable mom. Harry's been my rock. He stood by me through everything, even when his sister nearly destroyed us. We've promised never to keep secrets from each other. We talk openly, about everything. One day we'll tell Nate and our daughter about what happened, in a way that's honest but age-appropriate. We want them to know how to protect themselves from toxic people, even if they're family. And we want them to understand, family is more than blood. It's about loyalty, love, and respect. And sometimes it's the people you least expect who will stand by you when it matters most.